Good afternoon. My name is Rafael Prairie, and I'm the interim director of the Tarrant County College's Criminal Justice Training Center Police Academy at the Northwest Campus. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the graduation ceremony of Tarrant County College's Police Academy class number 198. Thank you for those joining us online and being part of this ceremony. I'm also a Major United States Air Force Reserve, serve as a 10th Air Force Security Forces Chief of Training and Readiness at NAS Fort Worth Joint Reserve Base. Before we recite the Pledge of Allegiance, I want to take a second to remind everyone why it's an important part of our ceremonies. Throughout the nation's history, America's soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our enemies and allies, and to turn back aggressors. Today, it is my privilege to say thank you to all Americans veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. In honor of those who have served our country proudly, it is my pleasure to introduce the following cadets. Cadet Seth Wagner, United States Marine Corps, E3, Lance Corporal, 3 years. Cadet Christian Mutters, Army National Guard, E4 Specialist, 3 years. Cadet Ismael Esquivel, United States Marine Corps, First Lieutenant, 4 years. Cadet Ivan Lerma, United States Marine Corps, E4 Corporal, 4 years. Cadet Clayton Watkins, United States Marine Corps, E5 Sergeant, 5 years. Cadet Dennis Snyder, United States Navy, E5 Petty Officer 2nd Class. Cadet Philip Viola, United States Army, E4 Specialist, 5 years. And Cadet Justin Foydick, United States Marine Corps, E5 Sergeant, 5 years. Cadet Christian Mutters will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge. Present arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order arms.
Cadet Seth Wagner will lead us in the invocation.
Please bow your heads and pray. Dear Lord, we come to you today and we say thank you for all the hardships that Class 198 has suffered through with COVID-19 and going through the harsh realities of the Police Academy. Lord, we ask that you preserve our peace, allow us to be the peacekeepers out there that you call us to be in Matthew 5:9. So Lord, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for just persevering with us and being by our side every second of it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please take your seats. It is an honor to introduce the staff of the Criminal Justice Training Center. Our students are surrounded daily by this great talent. We are passionate about imparting the knowledge that will lead to graduating great officers who will protect us. I would like to recognize those who make these graduations possible, the Criminal Justice Training staff, which most of them aren't here because of COVID-19, but I appreciate you and everything you do. I will start out with Jim McGregor, who is our coordinator for the Basic Peace Officer Academy and in-service training. Shay King, the Basic Academy coordinator. Damon Ng, in-service training coordinator. And I have Chief Cody Phillips of the Haltom City Police Department, who's going to address the keynote address. Thank you. And later on, we'll talk about Jennifer Hall. She's also one of our dignitaries up here. In addition to the Criminal Justice Training Center staff, we're blessed to have the support of the leadership team we have at Northwest Campus. And on behalf of the Criminal Justice Training Center, I'd like to extend our appreciation and recognition of those leaders. Dr. Sarina Blackenbaker, President of the Northwest Campus, Dr. Serafin Garcia, Assistant to the President, Dr. Kirsten Cooper, Executive Director of Community Education and Engagement, Dr. Judith Gallagher, Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Jan Clayton, Vice President for Student Development Services, Dean Sonia Brown, the Dean of Public Services, Social and Behavioral Sciences. Because of their support and leadership, insight, and recommendations from our advisory council, we're able to do what we do. Last but not least, Tarrant County College and Criminal Justice Training Center would like to also acknowledge the agencies that entrusted us at the Tarrant County College Police Academy with them and their support. Members of the Bedford Police Department under the leadership of Chief Jeff Gibson. Members of the Colleyville Police Department under the leadership of Chief Michael Miller. Members of the Flower Mound Police Department under the leadership of Chief Andy Cancel. Members of the Fort Worth Fire Department under the leadership of Chief Jim Davis. Members of the Granbury Police Department under the leadership of Chief Mitch Galvan. Members of the Grand Prairie Fire Department under the leadership of Chief Robert Fight. Members of the Haltom City Fire Department under the leadership of Chief Brian Jacobs. Members of the Haltom City Police Department under the leadership of Chief Cody Phillips, who's here with us. Members of the Hood County Sheriff's Office under the leadership of Sheriff Roger Deeds. Members of the North Richland Hills Police Department under the leadership of Chief Jimmy Perdue. Members of the Roanoke Police Department under the leadership of Chief Jeremy Miller. Members of the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office under the leadership of Sheriff Bill Wayborn. And members of the University of North Texas Police Department under the leadership of Chief Ed Reynolds. And lastly, members of the Wise County Sheriff's Office under the leadership of Sheriff Lane Aiken.
It is important that we take a moment to reflect on the hard work, commitment, and sacrifice that it takes to complete this course of instruction. Class 198 began their journey on January 6th of 2020. And over 22 weeks, members of the class spent hours and hours learning law and criminal procedure, arrest techniques, defensive techniques, and firearms training. We pushed them to become more comfortable with being uncomfortable, to be able to stand the rigors and demands of policing. For 776 hours, over a period of 97 training days, cadets were pushed to learn, to perform, and to start thinking and acting like law enforcement professionals. It bears mentioning here that hard work was born not only by the students, but by their families. Through the years, it has become very apparent to me that a key element for most of us in law enforcement, if we wish to have a productive and satisfying career, is a supportive and understanding family. The graduates themselves are justifiably proud of what they have accomplished, as they should be, and all should take this time to reflect on their success. For those who have been to our graduations before, we have started asking the classes to share a little bit about themselves. We want to make our graduations more focused on the class and to the individual members. We asked Class 198 if they would mind sharing a few things. Some of their previous careers are a seminary student, railroad conductor, jailer, and a home beer brewer. One of our cadets is a native Canadian. One plays the ukulele. One cadet drove 158 miles round trip to the academy every single day. 7 cadets have an associate's degree. 4 of the cadets have a bachelor's degree. 1 cadet has a master's degree. Thank you again.
It is my honor to introduce to our keynote speaker, Chief Cody Phillips. Cody Phillips was appointed Chief of Police in May of 2016. Chief Phillips began his career as a public safety officer in 1996 and has over 20 years of experience in law enforcement. He was hired in October of 1999 by the Haltom City Police Department as a police officer. While serving for the Haltom City Police Department, Chief Phillips has served as a patrol officer, a training officer, a detective, and SWAT operator. In 2008, he was promoted to corporal and assigned to the Professional Standards Unit, where he served until his promotion of 2009 to patrol sergeant. He was promoted to captain in 2015. And as captain, he oversaw night patrol operations, K9, and the implementation of the CAD RMS system, and with the shared service partner cities of North Richland Hills, Watauga, and Richland Hills. During his tenure, Chief Phillips was selected by his peers for Rookie Officer of the Year and Supervisor of the Year on 3 occasions. Chief Phillips has his Master's Peace Officer license, is a TICO licensed police instructor, and a graduate of the Institute of Law Enforcement Administration Police School of Supervision. He holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from Tarleton State University. Let's please welcome Chief Phillips.
All these guys are a lot shorter than I am. Try to talk so I can look at y'all. It makes it a little easier for me. So good afternoon, class 198, sorry. I'm dyslexic too. I appreciate y'all's class logo so much that I actually bought one of your t-shirts, the Don't Sneeze on Me. It really touched me, and I had to buy one from one of my firefighter buddies. With all the obstacles that have been placed in your path during the time of your academy, I hope this speech doesn't add to it. I've sat through a lot of these graduation speeches and listened to them, and some that were inspirational, some that made me really think, and then some that I wish would end as soon as they started talking. When I sat down to start preparing for this speech, there were so many things I wanted to talk to you about, and had a lot of difficulty narrowing it down to with everything that's going on in the world today. I reflected on the past speeches to help guide me. Listen to those individuals speak about integrity, honor, what to expect, how to act, and so on. But while sitting on a video conference, not paying attention, of course, it hit me on what I should talk to you about. You. You have had all the training in the academy. You'll receive more training when you get to your respective agencies. You'll receive training throughout your career. They'll focus on what they want you to become. They'll focus on what they want you to do. But what about you? You're the most important part of the equation. You're the one that can make or break that organization. You're the one that is representative of the profession that you just joined. As we've recently seen, decisions that you make in seconds based on your training and experience can not only affect the individual you're dealing with, but an entire nation. That decision can unite and divide people. It can be a catalyst for change, whether good or bad. I'm going to ask you one question, and don't worry, nobody's going to have to answer or get up here and respond. But why did you choose law enforcement? It shouldn't be a quick answer. You should have to really dig deep to answer that question. But be truthful with yourself when you figure out what your why is. And do me a favor, never forget what you identify as your why. Use your why to drive you to make the profession better, to continue to make yourself better, make others around you better, make your agency better, and make your community better. You're going to be involved in situations that will make you question your why. You're going to be ridiculed, called names, assaulted, looked down upon, and possibly refused service just because of the uniform you wear. So at this point in my speech, I had a very motivational piece written, but last night we had a protest, and after that protest, I attended a briefing, and I saw a letter that somebody printed out in our briefing room and hung on the wall. I don't know who the writer was or where they got it from, but after reading it, I felt compelled to read it to you all. I apologize because it's going to make this speech a lot longer, but you're all kind of held hostage right now anyway. So it says, "Dear rookies, you grew up in the post-9/11 era, and you saw first responders as those heroes on the home front rushing into those burning towers at the Pentagon. Somewhere along the line, you started learning names that stuck in the public consciousness: Trayvon Martin, Eric Garner, Alton Sterling, Michael Brown, Botham Jean. The names of cities that had been rocked by strife and unrest were outcries that rang in your ears while you walked the hallways of your schools, military bases, college campuses: Sanford, New York, Baton Rouge, Ferguson, Dallas. You saw the us versus them played out in the headlines and hashtags. You felt called. Despite the division, despite the Black Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter movements, the knowledge that one incident, one mistake could end your career, tarnish your reputation forever, and even take away your freedom. You stepped up. You saw the good for people who are willing to make a difference in their communities. You're willing to ride your beat, right? I mistyped that. Write your beat, your city, your county, your state, your country, a blank check, payable with your life as willingly you chose to walk the line of the most critical and criticized profession in modern existence. You took tests, you submitted yourself to intensive interview boards, physical assessments, psychological exams, polygraphs, an invasive background check. You told secrets to the agency you applied to that you'd never told any other living person. You were deemed worthy. You sweated through the academy, learning the trade. You saw video after video, underwent scenario after scenario, and sweated, struggled, and bled, all in pursuit of becoming the best version of yourself. One who earned that shiny piece of tin that you so excitedly pinned to your chest. It weighs in ounces measured in burdens of responsibility, trauma, and pride you only thought you understood. I want you to know that you inspire me. I want you to know that if I'd grown up in the same world you had, I may have chosen differently. I want you to know that as we walk this thin blue line together, your idealism and belief in this profession inherently noble bolsters my faltering belief. Since joining the ranks of law enforcement, this may be your first experience where a tragic collision between police and one of their community members, one that unnecessarily resulted in the death, feels personal to you. Your social media is aflame. Your family members are calling for your opinion. You see a range of reactions from your shift mates, your friends. I'm writing this to you, rookies, because you may not know how to handle this or understand why. If you weren't there and you don't even serve in that community, why is this your problem? Let me tell you, it is your problem. It's all of our problem. We're all judged by your actions, just as you're judged by all of ours. People don't say officers so-and-so did wrong. They say all cops are bastards. They don't examine the totality of the circumstances of an individual incident, nor understand what Graham versus Connor and the objective reasonableness means. Sometimes that matters, and the public truly doesn't understand what the viral snippet of a cell phone video, dash cam, or body cam is showing them. Sometimes the context is everything. Sometimes the context doesn't mean anything at all. This is one of those times. No context can make kneeling on someone's neck until they die justified. None. Just as you've been taught that we are responsible for every round we fire in a gunfight, we all are likewise responsible for the consequences of our actions. We don't get to make mistakes that cost lives. That's what we stand for. The mistakes are going to happen. Someone underserving you will again die at the hands of law enforcement. I don't think any of us go into the work intending on that happening, but it does and will again. So what do you do this time, next time? You hold your head high, you put your uniform back on, you get out on the street where you're needed, smile at the citizens, take your sunglasses off when you talk to them, make each call you respond to the most important call of your day, let the kids play with your lights in your squad car, you use the appropriate amount of force when necessary, you utilize time, distance, cover, and a recovery precision for suspects after you have them in custody. You utilize good officer presence and exercise the survival tactics you were taught. You drive your squad car responsibly and safely. The light bar and siren do not project a force field around your car. You explain your actions whenever practical so as to give those you're interacting with on the street an understanding of what is occurring and why compliance is in their best interest. Give them choices. I've often used, do you want to go to jail or go home, as a way of making their options more obvious and the required behaviors on their part a stark and practical reality. You utilize the most important 6 inches on the street, the space between your ears, judiciously. You take a deep breath when you're stressed so as not to respond and not to react. You set the example. Gandhi said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." His phrase has been trivialized into teenage tattoos and home decor wall hangings, but it also stands as a challenge to you who answered the call and walked the line. You say, "Not on my call, not tonight, not ever." Still glad that you pinned on the heaviest few ounces you'll ever bear? Remember, this is what you chose. You chose knowing the risk You stepped forward. You raised your right hand and you swore that oath. That's what makes you a hero to me. Now go out there and prove you're a hero to yourself. Do what you promised. Do what you swore. Walk the line. Be the change, us for them. So, sorry it was long, but I felt, I had a lot written down prior to reading that. And when I read that, it really touched home because you truly are heroes to me because it's a whole different time. I mean, I honestly can say if I was to go back to 1999 and these times now, I don't know if I'd chose law enforcement. Y'all consciously made that decision and saw it through despite COVID, all the turmoil that's going on in the world, and you're voluntarily going out there and making a change. So honestly, sit back, think about why you got into this, and never lose that. Never forget that. Keep your friends, keep your family. Communicate with them, and communicate them through your heart. Don't just tell them the stuff that they want to hear. Make sure you maintain the relationships, okay? I want to thank you all for asking me to speak. I truly am humbled by this opportunity and hope I didn't bore y'all. I also want to thank each of you for choosing this profession. Again, you're an inspiration to me, and I'm honestly proud to call you sisters and brothers. I look forward to seeing each of you, and I know most of y'all's chiefs, so to see y'all progress through your careers. And if y'all ever need anything, feel free to reach out, and I will do whatever I can to help either one of you because you're now a part of my family. Thank you all.
Hey, Chief, I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to address our class 198. And here's a coin for as a gift, small token. There you go.
I don't want to touch it.
Here's a nice little gift for you. Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. All right. And now will Class Leader Joshua Thomas of the North Richland Hills Police Department come forward for the class speech.
I want to start by thanking our Academy coordinators, Mr. Prairie, Mr. McGregor, Mr. King, and Dr. Ng. The reason we're even here right now is because of you. Without you pushing for us to return to the Academy, we would likely still be on standby and not able to come back because of the coronavirus. We have you to thank for getting us through. I would also like to thank my agency, North Richland Hills, as well as every other agency represented here today for investing in each of us and giving us the chance to prove that we have what it takes. Also, I want to thank Cadet Walker for getting the class shirts made, Cadet Viola for making a class video, and Cadet Livingston for getting a plaque put together, and all the others who have contributed. There is no denying that Class 198 has dealt with adversity throughout our time in the Academy. Since the beginning, we were told we were the guinea pigs for the new curriculum T. Cole was putting out. The tests were tough, but almost everything was in the IRG, somewhere. I think we can all agree on that, except FOIDIC, better known as Fish 1251. So along with being the first class to be on the new curriculum, the coronavirus decided to come along the week before we were supposed to get to the fun stuff. But why would anything go as planned? Am I right? After a month of being stuck at home, hours upon hours of online lectures, trying to get the kids to clean their closet, and 30-minute lunch breaks, we finally got to come back to the Academy, 6 feet apart and masked. Needless to say, there were roadblocks along the way, but we made it through. And honestly, now that we're done, I knew this would have been the outcome. I would do it all over again. One thing I wanted to do with this, from this point on, or yesterday, we will be held to a higher standard. We are no longer just the guy in line at the grocery store or or the guy pumping gas at the gas station. We are responsible for ourselves as well as others. Remain vigilant, always be observant, and always face the door if you're in uniform. Because just the fact that we chose this career field and the fact that we wear a uniform unfortunately makes us a target to some. We are entering into the profession during an interesting time, but we all possess the qualities we need to be able to make a difference in our communities. For some of us, minus the firemen, still have a very long way to go. Some of us have to do in-service for a few weeks before starting field training. Some of us will be going right into field training. I know this is supposed to be a positive, enjoyable time, but we also have to be looking ahead and preparing for the next step, because the next step is the real deal. For me, I have feelings of excitement to be out on the streets, communicating and interacting with the community that I have grown up in and I have called home for almost all of my life, while also being able to enforce the law for those who decide to break the law. Along with these feelings of excitement, I also have feelings of nervousness and uncertainty, not because I don't know if this is the right path for me, because I absolutely believe it is, and has been for a while, but because of the unknown and the fear of failure. And I know better than some that I will make mistakes and I will fail, and that is a part of it. There is nothing I can do that would make me a perfect person in law enforcement or everyday life. But I am ready for the challenge, and I hope all of you are ready for it as well. We have a real opportunity to do a lot of good things for our community. For me, it's personal. I have grown up in a law enforcement family. I was raised to trust and respect the police, but I was also raised to respect people, even if they don't believe in the same things I do. I'm sure we have all seen the divide between those who don't like the police and those who do. You may not agree one way or the other, but we don't get to have an opinion anymore. And that is okay, because it is why we chose this profession. Not only to enforce the law, but to ensure that people get to enjoy their rights and freedoms, to protect the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. As many of you know, I like to be short and straight to the point, so I will leave you with this. An easy road never led to a great destination.
Strong, solid leadership is an important part of a law enforcement organization. It is also important in the academy environment. To lead in such a setting requires commitment, character, dedication, diligence, desire, motivation. Obviously, this list could go on and on. With that said, it is important that we recognize and show appreciation to those members of Class 198 who served in leadership roles. We would like to recognize the class leaders and present them with the collar brass they wore during the academy. When I call your name, please come to the stage. Class Lieutenant Joshua Thomas of the North Richland Hills Police Department. Squad 1 Sergeant Denzel Douglas of the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. Squad 2 Sergeant Justin Foytick of the Fort Worth Fire Department. Squad 3 Sergeant Stephanie Booth of the Bedford Police Department. And Guidon Sergeant Ismael Esquivel of the Haltom City Police Department. Thank you. Have a seat. We will now recognize members of the class who are receiving individual awards. The Class Leadership Award is presented to the cadet that was selected as the class lieutenant, the senior leadership position in an academy class. In addition to the heavy academic and physical stresses inherent with the academy experience, this cadet shoulders a substantial responsibility for the well-being and maintenance of their peers. Will Joshua Thomas please come forward? For presentation of class valedictorian, the Academy's highest academic honor, will Justin Foydick please come forward? For presentation of class salutatorian, the second highest academic honor possible, will Nathan Livingston please come forward? Presentation of the award as most physically fit is presented to the graduate that held the best average of all three 2,000-meter rowing tests. Will Justin Foydick please come forward? The Marksmanship Award is presented to the cadet demonstrating the highest level of proficiency and accuracy during firearms training. Will Evan Lerma please come forward? Presentation of honors as the most distinguished recruit is an award given to a cadet who is voted by their peers as having attained the highest level of accomplishment and pure respect as a member of the class. Will Justin Foydick please come forward? No, come here. You, come here. The Nick Fowler Award is presented by the graduating class to an instructor considered to hallmark the highest traditions of teaching and academic excellence. This award is made in the memory of Irving police officer Nick Fowler. Our award recipient, Jennifer Hall, graduated from the TCC Police Academy in 1989 and served the Hearst Police Department from 1989 through 2014. Some of her assignments during her time with Hearst were as a tactical team designated marksman, background investigator, field training officer, firearms instructor, and Citizens Police Academy instructor, just to name a few. She holds a Master Peace Officer Proficiency Certificate from the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, a bachelor's degree from the University of Texas at Arlington, a master's degree from Texas Women's University, and is a graduate of both the Institute for Law Enforcement Administration's Management College and School of Police Supervision programs. Please join me in welcoming the Nick Fowler Award recipient for Class 198, Miss Jennifer Hall. So go pose with her. Go pose with her. We will now present the members of the 198th Academy class certificates of completion and the TCC Criminal Justice Training Center Challenge Coin. Challenge coins are carried by soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, as well as lawmen and firefighters. These coins identify the holder as a member of a particular unit with a well-defined history and mission. The Tarrant County College Criminal Justice Training Center has designed our own challenge coin for our Basic Peace Officer Academy graduates. These coins are only awarded to graduates of the Academy. At this time, will the class leader present the members of the 198th Academy for the awarding of certificates? As I call your name, step forward, and congratulations on your success, for yours is a job well done. During their time in the Academy, the cadets have had the opportunity to learn achievement award bars. These awards include prior military service, physical fitness, marksmanship, and academic achievement. As each graduate takes the stage, any achievement awards they earned will be noted next to their photograph. I will now call out the cadets' names in alphabetical order, and they will be presented with their graduating diplomas. You go back over to your seat. Officer Andrew Beringer of the Colleyville Police Department. Officer Stephanie Booth of the Bedford Police Department. Officer Gina Bruton of the North Richland Hills Police Department. Deputy Curtis Berkey of the Wise County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Stephen Burge of the Hood County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Caleb Calvary of the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Zachary Cox of the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Denzel Douglas of the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. Officer Ismael Esquivel of the Haltom City Police Department. Engineer Justin Foydick of the Fort Worth Fire Department. Officer Daniel Grady of the Bedford Police Department. Officer Evan Lerma of the Flower Mound Police Department. Deputy Nathan Livingston of the Hood County Sheriff's Office. Officer Christian Mutters of the University of North Texas Police Department. Deputy Pablo Paulino of the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Michael Portillo of the Tarrant County Sheriff's Office. Officer Samantha Santoyo of the Haltom City Police Department. Officer Nigel Sewell of the Bedford Police Department. Officer Dennis Snyder of the Bedford Police Department. Officer Joshua Thomas of the North Richland Hills Police Department. Lieutenant James Trimble of the Haltom City Fire Department. Lieutenant Philip Viola of the Grand Prairie Fire Department. Officer Seth Wagner of the Granbury Police Department. Officer Clint Walker of the Flower Mound Police Department. Officer Clayton Watkins of the Bedford Police Department. Officer Olivia Wilson of the Roanoke Police Department.
As Cadet Wilson is walking back, ladies and gentlemen, we wish to sincerely thank you for celebrating their accomplishment online. Now to the graduating class, I want to say congratulations to you. You have been the chosen ones. You started in January when there's no pandemic, and there's a pandemic now. So I appreciate your patience and everything you've done, obviously in persevering through this difficult time. So I congratulate you. You are the chosen ones. We will now conclude the ceremony by asking the class leader to please conduct the final dismissal.